Welcome, friends, it's the MovieFilm Podcast. MovieFilm Podcast, enjoy the show. Zaki and Brian are talking about the movies. MovieFilm Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. It is episode 268, and as we record this, Brian Hall, I'm Zaki Hassan, by the way, Brian. I don't know if we've met, but it's nice to make your acquaintance.
Yes, pleasure.
We're recording this on the very last day of April, and this was like a moral victory for me because I was like, I want to at least pretend that we did record more than once this month.
I know. We were just talking off air. Just this month was just like life. Life was just so busy, and but yes, we were clawing and scratching to make sure that we could at least get one more in this month. And it's funny because Zaki knows I'm going to be rushing my fiance to the airport shortly after this too. So it was like whatever window we got, we're going to take it and we're going to run with it. And
Brian will be editing the podcast while driving her. That's how dedicated he is.
That's true. So if you hear like a lot of yelling and screeching tires and police sirens saying, please pull over, then
and I love that Federico will be like, hey, do you want me to drive? And you're like, no, I'm driving you as you're steering into oncoming traffic.
Yeah. What are you implying?
Dedication.
Yes.
But what have you been up to, though, other than being crazy busy work? We should mention, by the way, that we are mere days away from the premiere of Star Wars: The Young Jedi Adventures.
I know. I cannot believe it.
Single-digit days, Brian.
It's crazy. Yeah, May the 4th. It comes out on Disney Plus and Disney Junior. And as we speak, there's a series of shorts that are currently available on Disney Plus and YouTube, and they've been getting great reactions. So, it's been really exciting seeing people finally getting to meet these characters and see such amazing reactions to them already. And for all of us at the show, just seeing the show finally out in the world, seeing ads for it on buses has been really exciting. We've been sharing pictures of our bus ad sightings. It's been a really exciting time. And I'm looking forward to everyone finally getting to see episodes of the show, full length episodes of the show starting this Thursday, May the 4th.
I have to say, my feeling is that it's not truly Star Wars until people on the internet say that it ruined the franchise.
Yes.
And so I want to get that ball rolling. Honestly, I want to be the first person to tweet that after the show starts. So
just so we can all get that feeling like, wow, we did it. We made something Star Wars.
I feel like that's the equivalent of like breaking a bottle of champagne against the hull of a ship. I feel like right. I feel like as a friend, I should do that.
That's what's been kind of fun too, because here, I'll go on record here, but with a show involving younglings, a lot of the sort of people who think they're being clever online are like, oh, we all know how this ends. But this is in the High Republic, which is 200 years before, at least, before certain events involving one Anakin Skywalker. So these kids are okay. but it has been fun. Like, you see, on Star Wars Instagram or whatnot, like, there'll be, a post about Young Jedi Adventures, and then someone says some sort of comment like that. And then there's immediately someone below like, it's 200 years earlier, idiot, or like,
they're going to die in plane crashes and of disease and other things. Nothing to do with Anakin's murder spree.
That's right.
That'll be the flash forward in the last episode. It'll be like the six feet under.
Yes, right where we see their ends. Yeah. Hey, I was going to make a joke. I was just going to say, like, we want a little insider tip? We already know what they all are. But no, that would be awful.
That's terrible.
And make me sad. No, but man, yeah, we were out the other day and they were showing us like stickers. We have stickers of these characters now. It's wild. And seeing the toys that are forthcoming, I think in summer. I just already can't wait to have the toys on my desk. So it's a really exciting time.
Well, I'm sure we'll have more to talk about when that series officially debuts.
Yep, most definitely. As for what I've been up to entertainment wise, crazily not a lot. At least movie wise, there's a lot in theaters that I want to watch. I still want to see John Wick 4. You know that the Guy Ritchie presents The Covenant or whatever that's called.
I want to see that. Yeah.
You know, I was like, yeah, no, I can see that. Looks like that'd be kind of good. And now I'm hearing like really great things about it.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
so I was like, oh, okay, well, I add it to the list. And then also Return of the Jedi. I'd really love to catch that while that's in theaters this week.
I've got some seats reserved, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to squeeze that in. I asked my kids. I'm like, hey, you guys want to watch Return of the Jedi? And my first one's like, yeah, absolutely. My third one's like, definitely. My fourth one's like, oh yeah, sure. Second one, he's like, why?
Really?
Yeah. So he doesn't live with us anymore. That's the end of that story.
Hey, you know, to each their own.
That boy looked me in the face, Brian, and he said, why?
No, that sounds on brand. We hung recently.
I have never felt like more of a failure as a parent than in that moment.
Did you?
I should say this is you mentioned how you hung out together, and you know, this kid, he's got a personality of his own now, and we had the opportunity to visit you very briefly, and you did with my kids what you do with me, where it's like, hey, let's drive by this location from this movie, because I get real excited about that. When I've hung out with you, we saw the aqueduct, like where they shot T2.
Yeah, where the truck goes over the edge and into the aqueduct. Yeah,
that's right. And we took a video there, and of course, been to the McFly house, and even the Burger King that Marty zooms past. Right. So my kids were there, and Federico was very nice about taking them out and just kind of keeping them company for a couple hours. So went to the McFly house, whatever. And so the next day, and Hamza, my oldest, he's like, man, that was so cool. You know?
Yeah.
My second one, we're all out for a meal, and we pull up to like an intersection, and my second one, he turns to you and he goes, hey, look at that no left turn sign. That's the same one in Back to the Future.
Yes. He said kind of sarcastically.
Dick, yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty funny though. I think I turned to you and I was like, so it's like this all the time?
I'm like, can you dial it down to maybe a 6?
Dude, that was so funny. Yeah. Now, Federica had a blast hanging out with him, though, driving them around. She was.
Oh, I'm glad.
About it. Yeah.
I'm glad someone did. Hey. Because I spent 5 hours coming and going with them. I'm like, okay, I'm done for the rest of the month. That was me.
Wait, that reminds me. I had a lot of celebrity sightings this weekend. We were driving down the street, and I saw Will Forte.
Okay.
Or I was like, I think that's Will Forte. And Federica's like, let's go find out. So we like pulled over really quick, and she's like, go see. And so I hopped out of the car, and I didn't know what to do. So I like.
Were you like Stewie in Family, where he's like, Will Forte?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Tom Bosley. Yeah, I think about that all the time, by the way. But so he was at a corner with what looked like a wife or girlfriend and a baby and a carriage, and they were talking to two people leaving a restaurant. So I sort of rounded the corner, heard his voice, and was like, oh yeah, that is definitely Will Forte. And but then I was like, I mean, do I have to round the whole block to get back to Federica at the car? Or like, and so I kind of did this thing where I was like, what? Oh, and like pat my pockets. Like I forgot something. Oh, jeez. And then I turned around and then ran back. And I was like, got in the car and I was like, yeah, that's him.
Nailed it.
And so then we sat in the car and we watched him get in the car. So she got to see him too. And
that's hilarious.
And then we saw, just today we were at this taco place, and we saw Ryan Hansen, who's in like Veronica Mars and Party Down, and Federica recognized him right away, and we're like, holy cow, what a weekend. Sherman Oaks, it's all happening, folks.
It's a place to be.
Yeah. And on that note, actually, Friday night we went to a TV taping, like a sitcom, you know, where you like a 3-camera sitcom, studio audience laughing kind of situation. And it hasn't come out yet. And I think I'm not going to say what it is.
Is it Too Many Cooks?
No, that would have been incredible. Yeah, that would have been amazing. But no, but just
Brian, hold on. Be honest. That song is in your head now, isn't it?
Too Many Cooks. I've been thinking about rewatching that recently. Actually, that came up not that long ago here, and I don't remember why, but that was such a weird phenomenon, wasn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like somehow that thing, if people don't know what we're talking about, on Adult Swim at like 3 a.m., unannounced, out of nowhere, they aired this thing called Too Many Cooks, and it started off like it was going to be a TGIF sitcom, right? It had that kind of corny opening and, people kind of smiling and then looking at the camera and folding their arms. And the joke was that it just kept going and it kept introducing more people. But then there was like this serial killer who was introduced. And then it turns into this weird, like David Lynch movie,
Yeah. I mean, it is, to think about it, it's like a nightmare. Like
It is.
Like, was that real, or did I dream that after having like bad Mexican food?
Exactly. I mean, much like Lynch, like not many people can do this, but yeah, it felt like they captured the feeling of a nightmare.
Yeah.
And what was amazing about it was I went into work the next day, and I think I read about it online or something, and I watched it. And then everybody at work was watching it. And then I remember we were in an editing session, and all the writers of the show, this is on Bob's Burgers, all the writers of the show, everybody was talking about, like, all day. It was this thing everybody couldn't stop talking about. And I was like, wow, I can't remember when something like that was unleashed in that way. And it really grabbed everybody that way, like that. It's so rare to be able to do that, but that was such a thing.
But so you did not attend a taping of Too Many Cooks?
No. This was like a very standard, sort of. It's not out yet, but it's like an NBC.
It's a multi-camera laugh track sitcom.
Yeah, and the reason I won't say exactly what it is because maybe A, I'm not allowed, I imagine, and B, it was okay.
Okay.
And I only bring that up because our job is to sit 200 people sit in these bleachers, and we have to laugh and this thing takes 4 hours to record. So what's so fascinating about this for people who haven't gone, have you ever gone, by the way, to a TV taping?
I have not.
Okay. So you go to a studio, and you wait in a line. I mean, this is the thing. You get there, you show up, you wait in a line, you go into another line, you're like getting ushered in. So that's time consuming. And this is before the 4 hours it takes to tape. And so thankfully they give you sandwiches, and water and things like that. But so you get in your seat and you're tired, but your whole job now is to laugh at not only every joke in this show, but like jokes that may not really actually be that funny. Sure. And so what's fascinating about it is there's a warm-up person, like an MC, who's with you the whole show. And in a way, they're really the star of the show, because like you spend the most time with them, while they're moving cameras, setting this up, doing whatever. The majority of the time is this person. And he's been doing this since 1981. And I was like, if this guy wrote a book, I would read it. I can't even imagine all the shows he's worked on, all the things he's done. But he just goes up there and he just has this way of just making you laugh. He does like, jokes, but he also does magic tricks, but he pulls people from the audience, and he's like, who's from another country, and come up here and like sing a song in your native language. And like he interacts with them and just keeps you engaged. And then all of a sudden it'll be like rolling. And he's like, okay. Wow. And then you sit down and then you watch it, and they do these jokes that are okay, but you have to go, Dad, and you have to be like, like this force. And it's like when it started, you're just kind of not in the mood. Like you're a little tired, and it's kind of fascinating. And I was trying, and the guy next to me wasn't laughing at all, and it's awkward. It's kind of awkward. And so then he'll come up and be like, try to loosen you up. And then he'll find like these little inside jokes he'll make with you. And then you start laughing really hard. So then hopefully I think the thing is that you'll get the giggles a bit.
Sure.
And then it's funny because then they'll do the scene again, and he keeps going, you've never seen it before. It's the funniest thing you've ever seen. Here we go. Kind of a thing. It's just it's a fascinating process. And it also kind of opened my eyes to television sitcoms, which are 22 minutes long, but say, the A story is, the main most time amount, we spend with a story. But say the B story for this one was a guy finds a thing, it makes him sad about something from the past, and then someone does something nice for him to make him not feel so bad. And if you were watching it all mixed together in 22 minutes, it would feel like, yeah, okay, that story, solid, woven in, beginning, middle, end, you feel good about it. But when you watch it broken up, you're like, wow, this is literally probably like 4 minutes of content, this whole plot. And it just makes you realize like, wow, that is really short. But when it's all tied together, it somehow feels like a full episode of television,
Wow. Okay.
But and also, actually, weirdly, more than the comedy, that plot made me sort of like go, aw. And our audience did do that, went, aw. And so then afterwards, the MC comes up and he goes, okay, no, laughter's great. Ahs don't mix very well. We're going to do the ahs later. He's like, so hold back your ahs.
That's hilarious.
Isn't that funny?
Wow.
I have to say, I can hear already Federica listening to this and probably laughing and rolling her eyes a little bit. But the opening cold open basically joke, we saw it. It's kind of funny. Then they did it again. They tweaked it. It got a little funnier. And then they did it again. And I don't know. It's like, even though it's not natural to laugh at something you've just seen 3 times straight in a row, you just sort of get in the rhythm of it. And I just started clapping. And then the whole audience clapped. So it was sort of like this ripple effect where, and then it like claps and then I'll go like to credits. And then I turned to Federica when that ended and I went, I did that. I started that applause. So I was like, when it airs.
Puppets.
Yes, exactly. Or it reminded me of Mr. Burns when he's got the baseball team. He's like, hit a home run, Daryl. And then Daryl hits the home run. He's like, I did that. But let me ask you. I mean, yes.
I know you can't talk about it, but was this a pilot?
No, it's the 5th episode. They showed us the pilot, and this was the 5th episode, so it's not on yet.
So it has been picked up to series. Okay, and you don't have to say who, but did you recognize anybody in it?
Yes, I think one of the people was a draw, particularly for Federica. So this was sort of like a surprise. Like I was like, oh, she would love this. And so, but yeah, it was all very, familiar people. Maybe I'll talk about it later when I don't feel it as connected. I just feel a little bad because I'm like, yeah, it was okay. And I don't want to like rag on it. But yeah, and it was cool because then every now and then the people would come over and kind of interact with the audience. And that's, it's kind of nice. It gets you reinvigorated a bit. But it's fascinating. If anyone is into the mechanics of filmmaking and television and whatnot, I would recommend it as an experience just to be like, wow, I mean, for all these years, sitcoms, this is the nuts and bolts of it. It's not as sexy as you think, but it's still kind of interesting in a way. But it's exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting.
One truism I've heard often is that the worst place to watch a sitcom is in the live studio audience.
It's wild. It's wild. I mean, it's just so unnatural. Like when you go to a comedy club, some people, they get you warmed up a little bit. You have likewise, there was an MC here, but there's like an MC to warm you up. There's alcohol involved. You get a little punchier throughout the night, but it's hard to just go into a thing and you're watching something that's a little, it's kind of straightforward. It's like a very, like averagey sort of sitcom kind of thing. And you might watch it at home and it'll be sort of comfort food like, where like that's what I was sort of realizing. Actually, I had that realization there. I said, I don't think sitcoms are actually always that funny, but they're kind of charming, so you're not laughing out loud at home, but you are charmed by it. And it's easy and it's nice and it's comfortable. But when you're there and you're supposed to laugh like it's the funniest thing you've ever seen, it's not very natural. So it's an experience.
Well, I'm looking forward to finding out what the show was that you saw.
Yeah. But on that note, I'll just say 2 things I have watched. And since they aren't super current, I won't spend too much time on them. But over here, we have our own shows going, at this, I watch things on my own. She watches things on her own, but we always try to have one show together. And we had done Parks and Rec, and that went over really well. We did Brooklyn Nine-Nine. We didn't want it to end. And so we were like, well, all right, we're on a Michael Schur sort of a thon over here, and Federica had been a huge fan of The Good Place, and we gobbled that up. I mean, we just went through 4 seasons really, really quickly, and I really loved it. I think it was her second time, maybe even third time through it, but it was my first time. And have you ever seen it? It's a really original, charming, witty show.
Yeah.
Have you gone through it?
Not the whole series. I'm about halfway through, I think.
Okay, yeah. No, I was really delighted by it. I mean, it's these really, really lovable characters, and it's just so wacky. I mean, like, just the really, really broad strokes are, it's these characters who have died and they go to the good place, is what they call it, like heaven, and just all the potential, that of episodes that you can have in a place like that. And there's a lot of sort of like philosophy. I imagine like philosophy professors would have a lot of episodes they could show as examples for certain people's, Kant or whoever, like just different. Oh, well, this is his philosophy on this. This whole episode is a representation of that idea, sort of like the whole thing about like being on a train, full of people, but there's one person on the track. What do? Do you save the person on the track and kill the 5 people on the train, or vice versa? And, they personify that stuff. And so it's just kind of a fun. And then, and what I think was nice too, is when you go through a show, there's peaks and valleys and seasons that aren't so great, but this is like a tight 4 seasons. I thought it was pretty solid all the way through. And it actually really sticks the landing. It has a really solid, emotional, satisfying ending. And it, you just you don't see that often, and so that was a good one. Just wanted to shout that out.
So what's next for you?
I don't know. We talked about Schitt's Creek, which I have not seen. Another sort of kind of, I think, as I understand it, sort of folksy, feel good comedy. I'm not sure. But I can speak to on my own, and I know we can bond over this, but now I am on the most current season of Yellowstone. I have burned through that show. That's why I haven't seen a lot of movies.
Has it held up for you?
It has. I mean, I've said it before, but my brother put it perfectly. It's like an AMC series meets a USA series, where sometimes, right? Like sometimes it'll be like really deadly serious and not trying to please anyone, just telling like a hard story. But then sometimes it'll get a little soapy, and a little sort of not predictable, but but that can be satisfying in its own way too. You want to be taken on these certain rides and romances and ups and downs. But for me, I'm a little sad that I'm almost caught up. This season, I guess they're doing one of those things, right, where season 5 is split up over 2 years, which is
right. Like what?
Very annoying. But what's for people who haven't watched it, what could be relatable about this is watching this show has been a journey, because I started it on, I want to say Peacock season 1. No, I'm sorry. Paramount, I think. And then for the middle seasons, I had to go over to Peacock. And then for this most current season, I had to go to my YouTube TV and subscribe to the show. And now I can only watch these episodes with commercials, which I know,
right.
First world, but it's like,
That's right.
It's very annoying after watching, 4 seasons without them. And then also knowing that there's this, production drama where they haven't even started filming the second half of this season. So it's a little like bittersweet, like reaching this point, but I'm still devouring it. Where are you at with it?
I'm, I believe partway through the 3rd season. I've had to take a bit of a break because this past month has been just sort of an aggregate of just like one crisis after another, different degrees of crisis, but collectively it's a crap load of crises.
Right.
And, so I've just, it's something that my wife and I watch together, and it's just, we've just not had the time. So I'm actually kind of, in the next couple of weeks, my semester is winding down, and I'm actually just looking forward to that. Like, I'm going to have a morning. I can have chai with Amina. We can watch our Yellowstone. I'm very much looking forward to that. Now that being said, I've told you for a little while now that you've got a couple really good prequels in the wings waiting for you.
That makes me really happy, knowing that at the very least I have more once I get burned through this first half of season 5.
Like in the current, I believe, no, I think it was in the 4th season, you see the Tim McGraw character.
Yeah, there's some flashbacks, which, by the way, I didn't even realize. The Faith Hill,
Yeah,
was in
yeah.
there, and I all I thought was, I know her, but I didn't place her, so I didn't realize that they were they were working to a spinoff there.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of cool where, historically those flashbacks are set after 1883.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get to watch that series with some knowledge of where things are headed, which I think is kind of cool,
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to discussing those with you.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But what about you?
Well, in the realm of streaming series, I finished season 3 of Star Trek Picard.
Yes, tell me about this. I've seen nothing but good things about this season. People seem to be really happy with it.
This 3rd season, it's executive produced by Terry Matalas, who he before he was involved with Star Trek Picard, he was EP of 12 Monkeys, the series.
Right. Okay. I had a friend that worked on that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was a really good series.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I feel terrible saying that, but yeah.
It was really good. And so he came into this as a Star Trek fan.
Mm-hmm.
And, the first 2 seasons of this show have sort of a mixed reception from fans. And I think part of the reason is because Patrick Stewart, in order to get him on board for this thing, he basically was like, I don't want to wear a Starfleet uniform and I don't want to be on a starship, which respect for the delicate genius that is Patrick Stewart, but I'm like, if you're on a Star Trek show, that's sort of what people pay the freight for, right?
Right.
And so I think that as a result, the previous 2 seasons were they feel like sort of an adjunct to the thing,
Sure.
and I was like, well, this is the show. Like, it's either this or no show at all. And I'm like, well, this is the one that Patrick Stewart wanted to do. So I didn't think of it much past that. I'm kind of like, it is what it is, ups and downs, but whatever. But anyway, with the 3rd season, Terry Matalas basically was like, look, I want the finale to the Next Generation that we never got. The original crew, in the 6th movie, that got to be their farewell. And you and I, we watched that together. It ends with them, their signatures on the screen. And, it's like, this is it. We're done with this now.
Right.
It was a farewell. The Next Generation never got that. So in essence, this 3rd season of Star Trek Picard is the 5th Next Generation movie. And it brings back the whole cast and crew, and it really gives an adventure together. And watching this, I'm somebody who I grew up watching The Next Generation, and then my kids grew up watching The Next Generation. So this was something that was equally poignant for myself and my children.
That's nice. Yeah.
Right. And they were like fully on board with it. And I should mention, a couple of years, it's been like 6 years now, but I took them with me to Silicon Valley Comic-Con, and, they met Jonathan Frakes and Brent Spiner and Marina Sirtis, and they were all so nice to them. And they have these warm memories just associated with that,
That's great.
But we get a scene where all the crew finally comes together. It's, over the course of the season's episodes. This is like maybe episode 6 or whatever. And they're all sitting around the conference table like they used to in the old show. And they're like, man, how long has this been? That's what the characters say. And I was like, it's amazing how it feels like every legacy sequel since the Star Wars sequels is a response to the Star Wars sequels. Because you look at all these characters sitting around the table, you're like, you know what? That's what we wanted.
Right.
We just wanted that. We wanted them to be there with each other and to share in each other's friendship because we feel like we are friends with them.
Right.
And to a lesser extent, I point to Jurassic World Dominion, the last one. Which, say what you will about the movie, we got the band back together. We got them to do stuff together, and that was very much by design.
Yeah.
And so, they say in life, you're either an example to follow or a warning to avoid. And it's like a shame that it's like, unfortunately, the Star Wars sequels, like they robbed us of that thing that all of these other things feel like a response to. At least maybe I'm over analyzing, but it feels like that to me.
Yeah, no.
So definitely for fans of Star Trek and fans of the Next Generation, if you've held off, man, you got this great season of television. That's just I've said it before. It's just a gift.
Man, that's amazing. I mean, how often do people accomplish that?
Yeah.
You know,
like if we never see those characters again, I'm like, you know what, we got to say goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
And what better thing is there than that?
That's great.
Another thing I've seen recently is on a slightly different tip. This is Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah, I saw your review. I don't know if I read it though. I am so curious because knowing and listeners know we're not horror guys, so I'm very, very curious what your thought on this was.
It's funny because I'm not like I'm not, I don't seek out horror movies, but I've said on this show, I'm like, look, I'll go watch them, and I can appreciate good ones. I like the Evil Dead films, the Sam Raimi ones.
Mm-hmm.
This one did not do a ton for me, and this is sort of like, it's not really a sequel to the Raimi movies. It's not really a sequel to the remake by Fede Alvarez like 10 years ago. It sort of exists within that world, so it's calling on the mythology, but it's kind of doing its own thing, and it is extremely gory, and I can go along with gore. I don't mind that, but there was like a cruelty to it that I found really off-putting.
Right.
And you have these characters who are in this building that's going to be that's condemned, and so they're in the process of moving out, and then there's like an earthquake, and they stumble upon the Necronomicon, which, if you follow this stuff, it's the book made of human flesh, which you shouldn't open. But of course, people in horror movies who have never seen horror movies are my worst kind of horror movie characters. Let me open this objectively terrifying thing.
Yeah.
and so, as the title implies, the dead rise, and they may or may not be evil. and for me, like there's one scene, like it's staged very well. I think there's some cleverness to the way in which the carnage is depicted.
Sure.
The film itself is directed by Lee Cronin, who's a British filmmaker, and you can tell he's a fan. He's an Evil Dead fan. But so you have this scene where like characters are looking through a keyhole.
Yeah.
Not a keyhole, sorry. Like what do you call those peepholes? In a door.
Oh, like at a door, yeah.
Yeah, into the hallway, and so it's like a POV through the peephole as this deadite is just massacring people, right? So you're like, that's clever. Like, it's a clever way of staging that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, you literally, during the sequence, you have children being horribly murdered. And I'm like, I can't find the entertainment value in that,
Yeah. I'm the same. Like that. It doesn't entertain me that. But there are certain horror films I do enjoy. Like, I mean, I love the Scream movies. And actually, I saw that they're going to do another Final Destination, and I was like, sign me up. I like those. But yeah, no, I'm with you. Like those things, they just don't bring me even like a wicked pleasure, or sort of like the fun of looking through my fingers as I'm covering my face. Like that's, just not our flavor.
Now that all being said, I am in the minority when it comes to Evil Dead Rise. So if you're listening to this and where I come from when it comes to horror movies, then feel free to ignore what I just said.
Yeah, that'd be funny. It's just like, oh, they hated it. It's like, we're gonna love it.
Yeah, sign me up. Exactly.
Yeah.
Fede Alvarez, by the way, who did the remake 10 years ago, he's doing the next whatever Alien movie.
Interesting.
And I don't know if that's like a Hulu joint, like Prey.
Oh, okay. Oh, Fox, right?
Yeah. So I don't know if it's going to be theatrical or streaming, but it is in production, and I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I assumed that the last one, Alien Covenant, killed it dead.
Oh, right. Yeah. I forgot about those. I was thinking of Aliens 4 or whatever it was. Or
That
5.
too.
I don't even remember. Yeah. But I'm always game. I'll always check out that world.
I'm curious about that. Yeah.
Yep.
I've also seen, Brian, and this is, I can't really talk about it because I'm going to wait to talk about it with you, but I have seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
I'm so excited. I really want to do a rewatch.
Yeah.
I love 1. I've seen it a couple times. Second one I've only seen once. I would like to revisit that, for the wind up to fully enjoy 3. So,
Well, one thing I will say about 3, and this does not constitute a spoiler, but I only in terms of, the critique, which has been very prevalent about Marvel films lately, is sort of there seems to be a slapdash feel to the effect sequences. We at least thought it. We may have commented about it when it came to Ant-Man and the Wasp, the last one, and then even Thor, Love and Thunder, and watching this, it felt different. And then I read an interview. Like, I just had this, like, I don't know, there's intentionality behind all of this. And I read this interview with James Gunn. I'm assuming at the premiere, which was just a couple days ago, and he was talking about how he doesn't start shooting until he's had a completed script for 6 months.
Huh.
And he's like, we can make changes here and there, but like, I know when we go in, when we're on the set, I know what I want the sequence to look like. I already know it.
Right.
And I'm like, well, that seems obvious.
Yes.
Like, just as a course of act, well, that should be
the way it should be. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
A vision. But I'm like, a vision of all things. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but clearly that is the case based on the fact that I had that reaction where I'm like, these effect sequences, they flow and they don't seem, thrown together. And I'm like, I don't want to tell the folks at Marvel how to do their jobs, but I'm like, maybe have it figured out 6 months out. I don't know. Just say, just put that out there.
I mean, there's so many factors, right? I mean, it's funny too, because it's not necessarily like the blame lies with the VFX houses. I mean, those people are working their asses off, and
right.
under, as I understand it, not great conditions. But it's just like, yeah, there could be like tinkering up to the very last minute and whatever. And I mean, that's like blockbuster filmmaking, unfortunately, these rushed times and dates and, releases and whatnot. But I mean, man, if you
there's tinkering, and then there's having to produce from a whole cloth, right?
Yeah. And I mean, that was kind of our thing with Ant-Man, where we felt like, it kind of feels like they were pointed in this direction, but then at the last minute they pivoted for some reason.
Yeah.
But anytime someone is able to have the luxury of making the movie that they've settled on in their mind and are passionate about, I mean, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking forward to discussing. And this isn't even like a fully formed thought, but as we record this weekend, we are now 5 years after Infinity War.
Wow, half a decade.
So we've now caught up to the blip.
Right.
Right. But I was like, it feels like there's almost like a cultural acknowledgement that the MCU is not the king of the castle anymore.
Sure.
And that's okay. Like, not that the quality is down or whatever, but like that, the peak was Endgame. And there will be other peaks after, but we're never going to necessarily hit that peak ever again.
And speaking of that peak, I mean, it was just this long, consistent, steady run of films that culminated in an awesome way. I mean, when has that happened before? When will it happen again? I mean, that is in some ways lightning in a bottle, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just from 2008 to what was it, 19 or something, or 18 or whatever it is, when that ended. 2019.
Yeah.
So, I mean, definitely have to acknowledge that that's crazy they pulled that off to begin with. But then after something like that, and that we could depend on them for so long, you can't help but feel like, oh, it feels a little wobbly these days.
Right.
It's
And just to be clear, what I'm saying is not even like, oh, it sucks now, but it's like it's like it's like Star Wars, right? Where it's never going to be what it was
yeah,
at its peak. Like every movie comes out and it just sucks up all the oxygen. Well,
uh-huh.
Star Wars is a different thing now.
Right.
It's one thing among many, and that's not any kind of reflection on the quality of the output, but it's just like it's one thing among many, and Marvel is there now, and I think
Yeah.
that the fandom and the audience will always be there, but I'm kind of glad that there's other things to suck up some of the oxygen too.
Yeah.
But that's a conversation that we will expound on, I suspect, next week.
I can't wait. I'm big fan of the series, so I'm looking forward to it. Hey, what did you think of The Diplomat, by the way? I'm interested in that.
I'm a sucker for like politics shows, and so this one dropped on. I saw that it was coming, and so I messaged my editor and I was like, "Hey, can I review this?"
Mm-hmm.
And so it stars Kerry Russell, who we just saw in Cocaine Bear.
That's right.
She's having a moment, and she plays an American diplomat who is supposed to be the ambassador to Afghanistan, and then she ends up at the last minute assigned to the United Kingdom. And there's various political machinations going on that lead to that assignment. And her husband is himself a former ambassador. He's played by Rufus Sewell.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm by the way, when it comes to Rufus Sewell, I'm like, put Rufus Sewell in everything.
Yeah.
I just love Rufus Sewell. I think he's good in whatever he does. And so he's like kind of ambitious as well, because he wants to have a career also, and I was like, okay, well, this seems like a kind of a House of Cards type thing,
Yeah.
But what I liked most is that it is not House of Cards. It's almost like the inverse and opposite of House of Cards, because House of Cards is so like cynical and just like everybody's in it for themselves and everybody sucks, and and this is, I mean, it's not the West Wing where it's this Pollyanna-ish take on it, but it's not House of Cards either. So it's kind of like in the middle.
Right.
And it really foregrounds the idea of politics is the art of the possible. You put people in a room, you talk things out, you can arrive at solutions,
Right.
And I think that's what spoke to me about it. That's what I liked.
I heard someone talking about it, and I heard that it was from someone from the West Wing and Homeland.
That's
and
right.
I was like,
and it feels it is exactly like that's what it feels like. It feels like you put both of those things in a blender, you get this.
So hearing that it's pretty solid and that there's only 8 episodes, I'm like, yeah, I can get down with that. That sounds good to me.
I would say so. I don't think you'd regret it. Yeah, I think for me, what I found most interesting was the dynamic between the husband and wife, who, as the show starts, they're in the process of divorcing.
Oh, okay.
And then circumstances sort of prompt them to not be able to, right? And just their relationship I found so interesting, because I'm like, it's not like it's complicated, It's not like, oh, he's cheating on her and there's various other factors, and I'm like, it's those complications that sort of pull me in. And Kerry Russell, I mean, like, she's just quality, like, you're gonna get a certain level from her, So I really enjoyed it. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, hopefully maybe after Yellowstone.
One thing I'll say about the show is that Michael McKean is the president.
Oh, interesting.
He's doing like a Joe Biden rip.
Okay.
And I was like, when you think about it, it's kind of funny how during the Trump years, they didn't even attempt to have like a Trump character.
Yeah. That's kind of a good point.
Right?
Yeah, it's funny. It reminds me back in the years of 24, like the different presidents, where there'd be there was like the heroic, President Palmer, and then there's sort of like the guy that's like a little more Weasley and kind of annoying. And then, it's,
yeah.
And that was kind of fun in that time. But like now, yeah, it just feels like you spend so much time in the news and on SNL and whatever in that it's like I almost don't want that seeping into my entertainment. I want it to be
That's
something
right.
else, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Let's take a short break and we will come back with some listener letters. And we are back, and hey, we got a listener letter here, Brian. This is from Mark LaChance, who emailed us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. And he says, just wondering what your thoughts were on the future of physical media, given Netflix's recent announcement that they will finally end DVD by mail service.
Yeah.
Are DVDs, I think after 25 years.
That is wild. I didn't even realize they were around that long.
I that was my thing. I didn't know they were still doing it or that they had started that long ago. So go figure.
Yeah.
Mark asks, are DVDs/Blu-rays completely obsolete now with the proliferation? Let me try that again. Proliferation. There you go. I shouldn't drink before I get on mic. Of streaming services, or will they make a comeback with movie buffs like vinyl did with audiophiles? Lastly, what is your preference for your favorite films, streaming or Blu-ray? Keep the shows coming. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. That's a great question.
Brian, what do you think?
I love the whole idea about could there be a comeback like vinyl? And man, I wonder. Actually, I think it'll take time, right? People have to miss it for a minute and then realize the benefits they're missing out on. Like I think I've said on the show before, I like vinyl. I've become one of those people, and but I do both. Like I stream music sometimes, but like when I'm in, when I'm writing or I'm at home or like especially at Christmas time a lot for some reason. Like when you're doing things around the living room, I like to put on like a Christmas record or something. Like there's something fun about the physicality of it, of like choosing what I'm going to do and pulling it out of its sleeve and putting it on. And even when I'm writing, I listen to Star Wars soundtracks on vinyl when I write. And
interesting.
There's something fun about flipping them. I don't know how to explain it, but sometimes it's more convenient if I'm going to go up, outside and I want a speaker and you just play something through your phone, so there's got to be something that we miss about it. And I think there is with the Blu-rays. I got to admit, I guess this bleeds into the other question. My choice these days, I have not bought a Blu-ray in a very long time. I think the last one that I bought was probably Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And that was like the last movie that made like a huge impact on me, where I was like, I want to see all the special features. It kind of had this like limited edition special thing. So it felt like, oh, that's something I really like. And I'd like to get this special sort of thing that's on the shelf next to the other movies that kind of mean a lot to me. So, but I have not bought anything since. And I can't say that I've really missed it either, because when there's a movie that Federica and I are going to watch and I own it, even if it's like Star Wars, like Return of the Jedi or something, we'll probably pull it up on a streamer. It's just click, 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 instead of like finding it on the shelf, putting it in, going through the FBI warning, going through the menu. I mean, it sounds so ridiculous, but it's true, like and having it boot up in the machine. So yeah, my choice these days, I have to admit, actually, I was going to rewatch Sorcerer, which shout out to one of our listeners, Doug, because he just saw that in a theater and we were conversing about that online. But he made me want to rewatch it, and I have it on Blu-ray. And I bet you I will probably turn the PlayStation on and see where it's streaming, which is sad, but that's my choice. And so I think it's the easiest, it's the quickest, it's convenient. I'm curious what you think. I mean, do you think there will be a moment when people will then there'll be like a resurgence? I mean, if that does happen, my feeling will be it has to do with the things that it can, like the bonus features, the director's commentary, the things that have not seemed to carry over into streaming. Right. That's what I miss. Like that's, if there was any reason for me to buy a Blu-ray if there was some new movie that I was really passionate about, and I don't know what that'd be, but like this year, and it came out and it was going to be available on streaming, or they're going to put out a Blu-ray and it was going to have like 2 hours of worthwhile bonus content and a director's commentary I was interested in, that would make me buy it. But that's probably the only thing these days that would make me do that.
I think you're speaking to just sort of the broader reality, which is that ultimately convenience wins
Yeah.
when it comes to, right? Like physical media was the only available way to access these things that we want to watch, right? And we can talk about how in the streaming age there are certain titles that are getting left by the wayside, and
Yes.
that aren't making the jump to streaming. And I'm fully on board with that. I say, yeah, that's a shame.
Yep.
But that doesn't undermine the central reality, which is that, again, convenience wins. If I can access a movie on my phone and either stream it or download it to my portable device and watch it in a parking lot, well, then that's what more people are going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then that's not even including the matter of the footprint this stuff leaves when it comes to storage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I think that I have a pretty sizable collection of physical media, which, if I'm being honest, I view very, very rarely. And I have it in my head like, oh, I still want to have X thing on disc.
Mm-hmm.
Even though pretty much if I own the disc, I definitely have it in my Voodoo locker.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like I we're talking about Marvel earlier. Like I have the first 3 phases of Marvel. So up through, I think, Spider-Man Far From Home, I think, on 4K disc.
Mm-hmm.
As God is my witness, I've never once cracked any of those discs and put them in my Blu-ray player.
Right. Right.
I've got a 4K I've got 2 4K players in my house, and I use them in any given month. I can count on one hand the number of times I actually use them to play a disc.
On that note, if I can just add real quick, I bought a PlayStation 5 because that was the only way you could play Fallen Order 2.
Right.
They're not putting it on 4. So I was like, okay, well, here's now I make the leap. But the funny thing is they make you choose if you buy one that has a disc drive or no disc drive. And I had to consider, right? I was like, well, wow. I almost don't want the option. Just tell me, just make one available. But I was like, well, obviously there are game factors in there, like if you want to buy used games or that sort of thing. But I did think, I used my PS4 as a Blu-ray player. Will I use the 5 as a 4K player? And if you had asked me maybe 3 years ago, I might have said, yeah, I assume I will. But now I was like, yeah, probably not.
Wow.
So
yeah.
I don't know.
That's the thing, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 3 shelves of TV on DVD.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, just being honest, I don't watch most of those. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of like I'm hanging on to them, but I don't know why I'm hanging on to them.
Yeah, sure. Well, I did that when I moved a couple years ago. I had to confront this entire bookcase of things that I had of Blu-rays and DVDs. And, I was fortunate enough to work at a couple studios. And so I got a lot of things for free. And it's not even stuff that you love, but it's just cool that they gave it to you almost,
right.
And so you're like, yeah, of course, goes on the shelf. But I had to really look at it and be like, no, really, I mean, I'm making this move. Is this the moment where I comb through this? And I did,
right.
I probably cut it at least in half. But I mean, there are certain ones that I will always hang on to, like, Terminator 2 is always going to be on my shelf, and like Star Wars and Indiana Jones.
But I think that list is a lot shorter than we think.
Oh, absolutely. Right? Absolutely. Yeah. But I mean, I do love, and it goes back to, well, there's just something about weird, I don't know how to explain it, a collector mentality or something, but like having those on the shelf, there is that weird psychology to it. But also, I think of Terminator 2, where I don't know when streaming what's available, but those discs are actually really cool. And there are, there's a Cameron commentary on there that's very, very good. And I don't know if I'm ever going to listen to it again, but like, I do appreciate with the films that I'm passionate about having all that extra stuff, because I am the type of person that will watch those things. So
I definitely agree with that. Yeah. So I think the question of physical media, I go back and forth on it. But the funniest thing to me is when I have this conversation with people who are like, well, what are you going to do if there's a nuclear war and you're not able to watch your disc or to stream it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm not going to be able to watch my disc either.
Yeah.
Like,
right, right,
like
right, right.
I feel like you're asking the wrong question after nuclear war.
Well, I'll use it as a plate,
Yeah.
to eat whatever.
I'll be using the disc to reflect the sun so I can cook the rat that I have to eat. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is again I think it's just a reflection of the reality. And the other thing I'll say is that the majority of people didn't upgrade past standard DVDs,
Yeah. Right.
much less Blu-rays, certainly much less 4K discs.
Right. Right.
And so given that, and I'm maybe I'm only speaking for myself here, but I have a pretty good internet connection and I'm able to stream 4K movies pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, the discs look better,
Hmm.
but it's like a difference of degrees, and that those degrees aren't enough to overcome the hassle of having to get up and do, you know what I mean, versus just hitting the button. So I think that's where most people are.
Yeah. Yeah. But going back to the whole vinyl of it all, I imagine for almost anything like that. I mean, like I've seen that tape cassettes have come back, and
Well, that's stupid. I mean,
I'll admit
come on.
I am not into that. But like if people enjoy that sort of cracking open the jewel case, and that makes sense to me because I have that for other things. Although that was probably one of the worst sound quality, sort of
Right.
mediums available. I mean, if we're really getting into it, I mean, CD is probably the best, but people just have those attachments. So I think that, yeah, I imagine there will always be at least a community that is interested in those sorts of things for movies.
Well, there we go. Thank you, Mark, for writing in with that question, and
Yeah.
I'll just put it out there to the gathered masses. I mean, what are your thoughts? Maybe we're completely wrong on this.
I would love to hear much more about this. I'm very interested.
With that, let's take another short break. We'll come back and talk through some headlines. And we are back. And hey, this past week, Brian, has been CinemaCon.
That's right.
Do you know anyone who went to CinemaCon?
I have in the past, but those people's jobs have changed. And so sometimes they bring me back bags, like a Jurassic World bag, and those sorts of things. But no, not this year. Not this year. I never heard any reports from the ground. You?
I just Chris Bumbray went. I think he's the editor in chief of Joe Blow.
Mm-hmm. I like his reviews.
So yeah, he writes. He took over after our friend Paul Shirey vacated that slot, and various other people who I follow, kind of doing their blow by blow, But this is essentially they promote. You have the theater chains are being sold the goods for the coming year by Hollywood.
Right.
So it's a whole dog and pony show. They have to bring out the stars and talk things up. So you have like Fast and Furious is coming out, and Barbie and Indiana Jones. I think Harrison Ford was there, and the Flash. They screened the Flash in its entirety.
Yeah, yeah. Which apparently that was the move last year that Top Gun did, where it's like, not only did we make a sequel you thought it would never be made, but get a load of this. It's kind of like the get a load of this screening, and this year it was for the Flash.
They did that with Ghostbusters Afterlife 2 years ago as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and the thing with the Flash is, it's been really sort of precarious over there with Warner Brothers, with them completely just throwing Batgirl into the trash bin, right? And so, but with the Flash and all the problems that they've had with that movie, WB has sort of maintained like, yeah, but it's really, really good. Kind of a thing. Right. And so this was the putting their money where the mouth is. I mean, all sort of controversies and whatnot aside, not, no disrespect to all that. That's a whole other thing. But with them trying to figure out like, hey, this, we think this is going to be a thing. This is going to make a lot of money. Like, we'll show here, look, and they showed it to everybody, and the reactions seemed to basically be unanimously believe the hype, right?
Now, I am reflexively circumspect about reactions being so sort of uproarious.
Yeah, I'm somewhere in the middle, because a lot of times when there's premieres and things like that, you get your sort of the onslaught of Twitter reactions, and they're all over the moon because they just were at the Chinese theater and saw, such and such in person. And, there's a little bit of a high that I think comes along with that elevates reactions. But and there were some pretty high praise for Flash, right? I mean, some people even saying it's in the conversation of best superhero movies of all time. Not the best, but among the best. And I don't know, remains to be seen, but people did seem to really, really like it. So
that comment I'm definitely discounting, because I'm expecting to like it.
Yeah.
But I think when you say stuff like that, it feels a little bit like, hey, I'm here and I watched this thing that you won't get to see for 2 months.
Sure.
And there's I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to steel myself, because I do want this movie to be good,
Yeah. I the one that really got me was someone said it was Back to the Future meets Spider-Man, whatever the last one, No Way Home. Is that the last one?
I mean,
I get them all messed
that was
up.
the last
Far
one.
From Home, blah blah blah. But like, I was just like, well, I like those ingredients. So if I can feel those feelings that those things should conjure in me, then it sounds like a success. And certainly for me, I mean, I'm beyond stoked for, Keaton's return as Batman. And the new trailer dropped, right?
Yeah, what'd you think of that?
Well, I'm into it. I mean, there was a lot of, especially Batman fan servicey stuff, like him repeating some of his famous lines from '89, and even like a callback to the Batwing being silhouetted by the moon, And right. Sometimes those things happen and you go, oh, okay, but with that, I probably clapped by myself, like in my room. I'm just so here for that in particular. But what was your reaction?
I think I'm on board with the mechanics of the story. It seems, the Flashpoint storyline that it's based on. I mean, I know it from the comic. We've used that as sort of the clothesline to sort of hang this thing on. But I just wonder if, and this is not, I've said this before, I wonder if every time Michael Keaton's not there, I'm going to be like, where's Michael Keaton?
Right.
Where's Poochie?
Where's Poochie? Yeah.
That's my concern.
Sure.
And this is, by all accounts, and you sort of see it in the logo at the end. It's meant to sort of tie a bow around, the DCEU that started 10 years ago. I don't know if this character, the Flash, this version of this character, has enough, of a built up investment with audiences that they're going to care.
That's going to be really interesting, because I mean, I've said this since the very, very beginning. I've not been crazy about Ezra Miller, because I feel like the performance has been one of those things where it's like casting someone who's a little older, playing a really young, enthusiastic person. It just feels not natural to me. And so I've not connected with this version of the Flash, but so this movie in a way kind of has a lot of heavy lifting to do to make me care, about this person to begin with. And then the whole reason that they would go through what they go through, right. Trying to save his parents and whatnot. And so, but I don't know. I weirdly kind of have an optimistic feeling about it personally. I think just that story alone, like someone wanting a world to exist where their parents are still alive, like that just inherently kind of gets me like, okay, I want that too for them. Like, I don't know. Like I can see that if that is executed well, I can see that getting my emotions charged up, and then of course seeing the characters I like, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm feeling kind of optimistic about it, honestly, as a film.
I'm just like really bipolar. Like I'm bouncing back and forth depending on what day of the week you catch me.
Sure.
I'm hoping for the best, and I know that James Gunn, who is incoming head of DC but had nothing to do with this movie, has been quite effusive
Right.
in his praise, and you try not to read any kind of an agenda into that. Like, what does he have to gain by pumping it up? Well, it makes it, it keeps the DC brand successful, but you try to put that to the side and say, well, I hope it's coming from a genuine place and not just need to sell the thing,
Right.
Well, anyway, I'm sure we'll have more to talk about when that movie hits theaters, which is just over a month from now, about 6 weeks away.
Oh wow, yeah. I mean, it's like all beginning with Guardians, basically, right?
Yeah, we got Guardians coming out next week, and then the summer movie season begins. We get Fast and Furious is I think a Memorial Day weekend or something like that, right?
Yeah, I think so.
When does that come out?
I know it's May, and then I don't know.
May 19th is Fast X.
Oh, okay. And then
the Little Mermaid.
Oh, right.
I know how excited you are for that. I should mention, by the way, Brian, that I saw, speaking of these Disney live action remakes, I watched Peter Pan and Wendy.
Yes.
Which just dropped on Disney Plus. And I got to say, I thoroughly enjoyed this.
I saw that. I saw like your little headline of something you posted, and I was not even on my radar.
Yeah, this is David Lowery did this, and he did The Green Knight. And, he did a movie called Ghost Story, which I interviewed him for. We may have played that audio on this show. I can't remember, but I was just mesmerized by A Ghost Story.
I've got to watch. You recommended it to me also, and I still have not seen it. So
I really want to hear your thoughts on that. I find it just haunting and beautiful. But and he also did for Disney. He did Pete's Dragon with Robert Redford, which I also really like.
Which I've heard is great. Yeah, it's another one I need to see.
And so that, like, I'm like, oh God, do we need another Peter Pan movie? But I'm like, with David Lowery, that has me interested, and I think he made something really, really special. I really enjoyed it. The reaction sort of leans positive, but I've read some scathing reviews, and I'm like, no, I don't know. It just worked for me. I really, he has Jude Law as Captain Hook, and he gives him this really interesting backstory that connects him to Peter Pan, which it just really worked for me. I remember there was that couple of years ago called Pan, directed by Joe Wright, right? Which had Garrett Hedlund as kind of like a Han Solo-esque Captain Hook.
Yeah, and this is where they sang, right? Or is that another one?
The bad guys sing, yes.
Don't they sing like "Smells Like Teen Spirit" or something?
Yes, the bad guys.
Yeah.
That's right. And that one didn't really work for me. I mean, I'm definitely like, I don't think the world needs any more Peter Pan stories, but this one worked for me. I guess I wasn't expecting it to, but I ended up enjoying it a lot.
Wow. So wait, real quick, what was the thing that people were not enjoying about it? And what was the thing that you think, made you enjoy it? What got its hooks in you?
No pun intended, right?
Yeah, I actually no.
I think that it is, I was going to say dour. I mean, it's not. It's a little more thoughtful, introspective, and it was those things that I liked.
Yeah.
Again, the why does Peter Pan act the way he does, and why do him and Captain Hook have this rivalry, Right. And the actor who plays Wendy her name is Ever Anderson, and she's the daughter of Mila Jovovich. And if you look at her, you're like, she looks like somebody, she looks like mom,
Yeah.
But she was great in this. She's really good.
Huh.
So I don't know. It just kind of worked for me. I feel like I don't know why they put it on streaming. I feel like this would have got a bigger audience if they put it in theaters.
Hmm.
But
I don't
I guess
know.
it's
Maybe for those reasons that it doesn't look as splashy. Well, now I will
maybe
use a pun as Little Mermaid, but like it's cool that they allowed him to make this version
that's right.
that some people may be sort of surprised by, like, oh, that was very thoughtful. Like, actually, I am moved by this. I feel stirred by this in a way I did not expect from a Peter Pan film. But knowing, well, if we put something in theaters, it's going to have to be, just the metrics we're working with these days, theatrical, and what it needs to cost and produce. It's got to be this,
Right. Yeah, I
It's got to
think you're
be.
right.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but cool. All right, well,
But
it's on my radar now, so thank you.
in terms of other releases coming out this summer, I actually didn't realize that we got the Spider-Man, the Spider-Verse 2 coming out.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
The new Transformers, which God help me, I'm intrigued by that trailer. I feel like after the football has been pulled away this many times by these movies, you'd think I'd learn, but it looks good. God help me.
I wish I could say the same. I saw Bumblebee, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people were so burned by the previous Transformer films, they did not go to that one. Much like you speak about the second Ninja Turtles film, right? Where people didn't feel a lot for the first one,
That's right.
so they missed the good one. The second one, I felt
right.
that way about Bumblebee. I was like, that was really fun. I watched that actually with my family when I visited them, and they all liked it too. But I don't know that I'm feeling a ton from this trailer,
Yeah.
so I'll need someone to tell me it's good.
It's what has me intrigued is that it's directed by Stephen Caple Jr., who did Creed 2, and that by itself is not what intrigues me. But I'm like, finally, you have people making these movies who want to make these movies.
That is a really good point. Yeah,
Right, because
we're
he is
actually fans of those.
35. Yeah, he's right in that sweet spot.
Yeah.
Versus Michael Bay, who wanted to make movies about Josh Duhamel and was forced to have, transforming robots in them.
Right.
Not even Josh Duhamel, like generic military guy.
Right.
And oh yeah, here's some robots too.
Right. Spielberg told me I had to do this.
yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then within a 2-week span, we got Indy 5, and we have Mission Impossible 7. So we're going to be eating well this summer, just right there.
Yep. I keep forgetting about Mission Impossible, honestly. I feel like they put a trailer out a while back, and obviously I'm very, very excited, but I keep forgetting that it's only months away.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, probably the biggest summer blockbuster, which really the entire blockbuster season is going to revolve around, Oppenheimer.
Yeah. Right. I love much is being made about how that and Barbie are opening on the same day, which is hilarious. But
I just hope we get that shared cinematic universe between those two.
Yeah, me too. I 100% would show up for that. Yeah.
I do love that Ryan Gosling has gone full, like just all in on playing Ken.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I'm excited for Barbie. I think I'm very, very curious. I think I'm getting like Lego movie vibes from it, like a real fun, zany kind of thing. So I think it could be a lot of fun.
Gosling keeps talking about his Kenergy.
Right.
I'm like, there's a guy. And Greta Gerwig.
Yeah.
Who, that's an interesting choice, right?
Totally. Yeah. And her ex-husband, Noah Baumbach, they wrote it together.
Greta Gerwig.
Yeah.
Do you remember this? She starred in the How I Met Your Mother. Like before now, the How I Met Your Father, they were going to do How I Met Your Dad. Do you remember this?
Was that just a pilot or did that actually air?
I think it was just a pilot.
I do remember this.
Yeah. And it's so weird because like, she would not have this directing career if she was tied up on some CBS sitcom.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah. And then she's done a lot. I mean, obviously acting wise, she's done a lot of interesting stuff. And then, Little Women most recently. Right.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's one of those things,
She talked about that on some talk show. I can't remember which one, about how they shot the pilot and they tested it, and basically all the feedback was they hate Greta Gerwig.
Really?
And I'm like, that has to suck.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know what that does to your just general sense of self.
Yeah, but it's one of those things too where you have to like not take that super personally, because it's like that doesn't mean that you're not good. It's like this thing, like you might not fit into that thing correctly, but like put her behind the camera making a Barbie movie and it's like a huge hit. Like you are good. You know what I mean? Like it's like being measured against things that maybe aren't necessarily your fault. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. Yeah.
You know, it's like a sliding doors sort of situation. It's like you can feel like you're not succeeding at something, like, oh, it's all my fault why this thing didn't work. It's like, well, no, like once you find that thing that you're like truly suited for, you're going to fly, you know?
Right.
And so, but that doesn't mean it doesn't sting in the moment.
Absolutely.
But yeah, but that's awesome. I'm really happy for her.
Yeah. So, and by the way, Noah Baumbach is her current partner. They are not exes.
Oh, I thought they were like exes, and that's where Marriage Story came from.
It says here in December 2022, Gerwig announced that she was expecting her second child with Baumbach. So,
wow, like, good for those kids.
Those crazy kids. So Barbie, yeah. So Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Yeah, and Oppenheimer, I'm so curious about this because I mean, Nolan himself has become, I was going to say against all odds, and I don't know if, I mean, whoever makes like the greatest Batman movie of all time is going to buy like eternal cachet probably, but he makes like, Dunkirk too, you know, like, and those aren't necessarily crowd pleasers, right? But people show up because Nolan is a brand that people like and trust, and Oppenheimer looks dour, you know? So I'm very curious in the middle of summer how that movie's going to do. But
I got to be honest, Brian. I kind of wish we lived in the universe where we're getting Greta Gerwig's Oppenheimer and Christopher Nolan's Barbie. That's what I want to see.
You know, I would take that. Yeah. You know, there'd be like some sort of ticking clock motif in Barbie, and you know, like she's gonna it'd be told somewhat out of order. Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed we're not getting that, but we'll be talking about those in a couple months. Here's some other news, Brian. This is some sad news. There's been a passing of late in the last couple of days. Jerry Springer has left the building, and by building I mean this mortal plane.
It's that was kind of a weird one, wasn't it? I mean, yeah, go ahead.
I don't know how I felt about it. I mean, as a human being, I'm sad, and by all accounts, he was a nice person.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what I think of the legacy he left behind.
Yeah, I think I get on board with that. Yeah, I mean, do you want to elaborate?
Well, for those of you who don't know, and I'm assuming if you listen to this show, you're at least familiar. You know, Jerry Springer had this talk show in the 90s, which initially it started as kind of a public affairs thing. You know, Jerry Springer was a former mayor of Cincinnati. Famously, he got into trouble because he had been spending time with a lady of the night, let's say, and he paid with a check, which you shouldn't do.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm no expert on that subject, but
paper trails.
Seems to me, yeah. So anyway, he gets his talk show. The public affairs thing isn't working, and then they start bringing on, illegitimate sisters sleeping with husbands and whatever else. You know, I don't know what's going on.
Well, it was also like the KKK, like that whole thing where it's like, let's bring out the KKK, and then like, I don't know, like whoever else, and like we know this is going to end in a fist fight on stage, right? Like chairs are going to fly. Like that became like kind of his brand, right?
Very much so. Yeah. People cheering his name. Right.
Yes.
And so this show just rocketed to the top of the pop culture conversations. And so in a sense, we look back with some nostalgia colored glasses. And we're like, remember those days when, good old Jerry Springer, those candy colored days of yesteryear. when Jerry Springer would have various people in different forms of bondage gear, and then he'd have his final thought about being good
His
to
final thought,
yourselves
yes.
and each other, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was invoking like. So it's like at the time when we were in high school, I think we'd never seen anything like that, and we're like teenagers, and it was outrageous, and it felt almost like rebellious and crazy and fun and funny and whatnot. And I think the older you get, you sort of like, oh, that was toxic.
Yeah, right.
You know, you know what I mean? Like, this might not have been like great for those. I'm sure some people, not, susceptible people, like being on television and then just being exploited, and then also just what it ushered in to culture and to daytime TV and beyond.
I mean, that whole, you talk about like the three gates of hell: Jerry Springer, Jenny Jones, and Maury Povich.
Remember, my brother and I were just talking about, I think it was Maury Povich, where it was like, or maybe it was Jenny Jones, where there was just this like year where it was always like an unruly kid, and then they would bring out these drill instructors who would just like come in and get in the face like, you maggot, blah, 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 that kind of thing. And then the kid would like suddenly be like, I'm sorry, mom. And then like the whole audience would be like, oh, that was like an era of daytime TV.
Yeah. I mean, it's so weird because it typifies like the way culture worked in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I would say up until the 90s, really, where everything flowed into certain troughs, so to speak, right?
Right.
Versus now, I mean, it's just everywhere is a sewage dump,
Yeah, it's funny when you say with Maury too. I mean, Maury's kind of the, you are not the father, and then
That's
someone
right.
starts like tap dancing on stage and a woman runs off crying.
That's right.
And and it's just sort of like,
which when you take a step backward, how entirely awful is that whole tableau?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think if this is what you're saying, is like, it kind of, he was sort of like the first person, the crack in the dam, where it's like, if Oprah was like daytime TV, he was like, wouldn't it be kind of funny if, and
Springer
provoked. Yeah, Springery. And then it just all, so the dam burst, and then it just became sort of human misery for entertainment.
Yeah, and so Springer, now to his credit, he never had any illusions about what he was doing. He's not like, hey, we're illuminating, some truth about human nature, although he kind of was.
I mean, he tried, like you said, his final thought at the end.
Yeah, right. But I mean, he was like, look, we're not going to do the type of show Oprah does. So I applaud the transparency of it all, but it's impossible not to look at what started there and look at where we're at now and say, well, did Jerry Springer make society better or worse?
Right.
And I don't know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that, I don't know, you have an opportunity to you have a microphone in front of you, you have a camera pointed at you, you can do something to make a difference, either for good or for ill. Right. It's kind of like, as we're recording this week or this past week, Tucker Carlson got shit canned at Fox News. Right.
Right.
And like, that's a conversation. People are like, oh my God, cause he was like the top rated cable show, period.
It's crazy, but
It was just nuts. Right. And he got shit canned. And I was talking about it with my brother, and I was like, here's the thing, like or dislike Tucker Carlson, it was the time slot that was the top rated. So before him, it was Bill O'Reilly in that same slot. And what's Bill O'Reilly doing now?
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's my point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and here's another example. Rush Limbaugh, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know when he died, a couple of years ago, right? And it's like the minute he died, people stopped thinking about him.
Sure.
Because he didn't contribute anything. You know what I mean? He contributed nastiness.
Right. Right.
And just toxic discourse. And the second he's gone, somebody else is doing it and
takes the mantle. Yep.
It takes the mantle. And I'm like, that's sad. Like, I can't imagine that being my legacy.
Right. Right. You just stirred things and made everybody agitated, and yeah.
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 And so by that metric, you say, well, Jerry Springer seemed like an affable guy, and I don't put him on that same level. But on the other hand, did he make society better? Not necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know. And
And-
and
yeah.
that's my final thought, Brian. So
Well, then I'm not going to
good to
argue with that.
yourselves and each other.
Zaki.
Sorry, you were saying, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. Oh, I just had like a little. Remember, they even made a movie,
Yeah. It was called Ringmaster.
Ringmasters. I never saw it, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's how big he was. Oh, Jerry Springer starring in a movie.
Yeah, and he was in the third Austin Powers, I think, and
So weird. What a time.
He's on The Simpsons. Remember that? Like one of the Halloween episodes, King Kodos, I think, around there.
Yeah. The with the where the like Kodos is Maggie's dad or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The thing is, his show ended in 2018.
Wow, I did not know that.
What?
Yeah,
Right?
I would have believed like 2006.
Nope.
Or something.
Yeah, him, Maury Povich, both those guys just ended relatively recently.
Wow, that's
And
amazing.
I'm like, God damn. There is if you go to Hulu, there's a series there called The Dark Side of the 90s. And there's an episode about 90s talk shows. And it's actually really worth watching. I think they got Springer as a talking head on there. It's actually really good. Worth a look.
Well, I mean, you had me at 90s, so I'll probably check it out.
Exactly. So check that out.
Yeah.
Speaking of leaving the building, this time not the mortal plane, Brian, is James Corden.
Yeah, leaving his late night station, right?
Now, if you were to follow the media conversation about James Corden leaving the Late Late Show after, I think, 8 years, you would think that Johnny Carson came back to life and died again.
Wait, what do you mean?
Based on how, oh my God, what a loss.
Really? I've not been following this, I should say. I know, I'm aware of the headline, but
I'm just like, I've yet to meet an actual living, breathing human being who watched the James Corden show.
Well, it's funny because I think he had like bits that went viral, right? Where you had the carpool karaoke and that sort of thing. And I mean, those were no doubt huge, performers, at least online, and people being aware of them. But it's funny because it feels like recently there was sort of like a negative discourse around him where, he was at some restaurant, was treating the staff kind of rudely, right? And that became a whole story for like a week. So that's interesting.
He'd been in Cats, which didn't help his rep just in general.
Right. I mean, I'm not a fan, but not being a fan, I don't even really have that much of a relationship with him.
I'm neutral on the subject of James Corden as a person, but I mean, let's be real. Nobody was watching network television at 12:30 at night. To the extent that this is an opportunity to talk about how the era of late night television is over.
Well, who's saying this? Is this Twitter or is this like articles coming out?
Yeah, this is like serious, think pieces,
Huh.
And I'm like, I don't dispute that late night is a far cry from what it was, certainly 30 years ago when you had like Letterman and Leno going at it, or even before that when it was just Carson. But I'm like, the metrics of what goes viral, maybe that's what it is. Like, the audience for carpool karaoke is just bigger than I would have ever thought.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean,
right.
I am continually fascinated. I'll be watching something or SNL or something. There'll be a musical guest and I'm like, oh, I don't know who that is. And then I'll look them up on Instagram and they have 60 million followers. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's on me. So who knows? I have no idea. I mean, maybe, through those sorts of things, it may not even be television ratings. It could just be through whatever sort of things he puts out on YouTube. There's some huge following for that I'm just not a part of. But
I mean, the economics of this don't even make sense because per Los Angeles Magazine, the show cost about $65 million to make.
How?
To produce. Yeah, right. Like
how? There's a set every day.
and you pay you. Let's just be generous and say you're paying the host $20 million.
Sure.
Okay, where's the other 45? Right?
I know. I mean, they don't make money, right? Guests on that?
No,
I think they
it's a
get like
promotion.
fruit baskets and stuff, but
Yeah,
I don't.
exactly.
Yeah.
But even then, the show itself was taking in 45 million.
Hmm.
So economically, this was not sustainable. Which fascinates me even more, the fact that Corden had apparently been offered $50 million to continue.
Wow.
I would assume for like 2 to 3 years, probably some kind of. But he turned that down. Which, hey, God bless. If you can turn down 50 million, then you get what you're worth. You know what I mean?
Sure. Sure.
Like I'm not. That's not. I'm like, hey, good. I know me, Brian. I definitely would not turn down 50 million, and I would have to do far less than host a nightly talk show.
Right.
You know, um, my dignity would be much, up for grabs for much lower rate than 50 million. Just being honest, knowing myself as I do. But the sense of like late night talk, like I think that is undeniable that it's not what it used to be, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, if that's the economic, like late show, if they're spending 65 million a year, I have to imagine the other shows spend more.
Yeah. Right. Like
Right?
a Fallon or something.
Yeah, I mean, how much you think it costs to keep the Ed Sullivan Theater running? With Colbert. So
Right.
that I am interested in that. Like, what are the economics of these shows?
Yeah. I not what I imagined, apparently.
Do you stay up late and watch these shows?
No.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, nobody does. I don't know.
I have no hard feelings about them. Which is funny though, because it seems weird, but like as teenagers,
Yeah.
I mean, we stayed up,
We did.
you and I, like
Exactly.
we would watch Conan O'Brien, we would,
Mhm.
it didn't matter who the guest was. Conan was funny,
That's right.
and Letterman and, Arsenio and all the Carson, like I watched all that stuff, like,
Right.
but yeah, like now it does feel, I remember when Fallon started, I just didn't feel, I just never connected with it, but like, it would be like, hey, let's have Tom Cruise come out and play a game called like Truth or Spaghetti Down Your Pants, and like, and it was like these games where, he would be with these huge superstars playing these crazy, ridiculous games with, spraying stuff on each other and whatnot. And I don't know, I almost kind of felt bad for the guests. I was like, look, you spent 3 months making a movie and now you got to go out here and get hit in the face with a pie. Like, do they want to do this? But in a way, it kind of makes sense because then you create this, you're making viral moments.
That's right.
You have these A-list celebrities at your fingertips here. And so you can do this and make these YouTube clips or Instagram clips or TikTok clips, like that's kind of what it's become. Right. And so I wonder if it almost is more popular online than it is even at night on network.
I have to imagine that's the only thing that keeps this stuff going, because more and more, I mean, every single late night show, they upload their monologue and their bits by like 5 p.m. Pacific time.
Oh, before it airs?
Before it airs.
Whoa. Well,
Isn't that interesting?
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, clearly they're counting more on that audience than the other audience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when we were kids, I remember staying up and watching, Biondo or whatever stupid Jay Leno, Mr. Muscles or whatever that guy was.
Jaywalking.
Jaywalking. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Or Headlines. That was a big one.
Headlines.
Yeah.
Now that being said, there is a sketch. I don't know if you saw this that Corden did either for his last show or the week before or the week of. It's him and all the other late night hosts. Did you see this?
No.
It's actually really funny. So we're checking out. It's, you got Seth Meyers and Kimmel and Fallon and Colbert. They all showed up. And I was like, it's nice. Oh, and Letterman. And it's nice that we're not doing the late night war thing,
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
It was a cute little thing that you might enjoy.
Yeah. Okay. I'll check it out. I've seen the bits where he's with Tom Cruise and he's in the jet and those sorts of things.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one would imagine that one or two of those going viral every couple months is enough to justify the effort of doing all the other ones.
Right. Yeah, I would
You know?
imagine.
You know. But hey, James Corden's late night talk show, R.I.P.
Yeah. Curious
I was
what
gonna say,
will. Yeah.
I was going to say it will be missed. No, it won't. It won't. That being said, I think that wraps up our discussions for this episode. What do you think?
I think so. This was great, man. I really enjoyed this.
we
been
some ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
We will be back, however, Brian. This is a promise that has been made to our audience, and by gum, we will keep it. We will be back to drop our commentary track for The Last Jedi.
It is happening. Yep.
In time for May the 4th. So look for that to happen. People have been messaging me excited. Like, when is it coming? So
I've seen happy, these. Yes.
Happy and nervous both.
Yeah.
Because we got to measure up. But if you have any questions or comments for us about anything we've talked about this episode or anything else, please message us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit like on our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast, and message us there. Brian, what about you? What do you have going on? Where can people find you?
I'm thrilled to full-throated finally be able to say that Young Jedi Adventures is coming out on May the 4th on Disney Junior and Disney Plus. Is an awesome show. I think, your kids are going to love it. Like, this is meant to be like an on-ramp for kids to the Star Wars universe. And I think it absolutely lives up to that and more. And I think it's going to get kids really excited about it. And I think what's really cool is that it's a show that parents are going to enjoy watching also. I think the characters are really fun. The adventures are great. It's humorous. It's heartfelt. It's adventurous. I'm very, very proud to be a part of it. So May the 4th, Young Jedi Adventures, Disney Junior, Disney Plus.
And just remember, if you want to get emotionally invested in the kids that Anakin Skywalker murders, this is where to jump in. So
I was going to say, you're going to need to find another show. You're going to need to find another show. Yeah.
Different show.
Not this show. Not this one.
It'll be the sequel series to this eventually. Eventually we'll get there.
Maybe they're great grandkids or something. I don't know. But
Brian, you can't say so. That's canon now. Like, people are. That's going to be a headline.
No, boy, the Brian's views and statements do not represent that of Disney or Lucasfilm.
That's about to be a slash film headline, right?
Nope.
As for me, you can find me at the San Francisco Chronicle, where my movie reviews go up pretty regularly. You can read my review of Evil Dead Rise and Peter Pan and Wendy and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. All of those are up, and I got a couple other pieces as well. You can also find me at IGN and The Wrap. Lots of stuff happening, and of course you can always find me on Twitter and other social media. Just search for Zaki's Corner. That's ZAKIS Corner, and I'm always happy to answer any questions or comments or anything else. As always, please go to Apple Podcasts and leave a review, leave a star rating if you like what we're doing. Let other people know, and we appreciate the feedback as well. With that, on behalf of my partner Brian Hall, my name is Zaki Hassan, and this has been Movie Film 268. We'll catch you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Welcome, friends. It's the Movie Film Podcast. Podcast, enjoy the show. Zaki and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.